Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun and exciting geometry class. Today we're going to be learning about a couple new constructions that we haven't done yet. That's going to be on 5.14 and 5.15, and your book is 254, page 254. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it and see what we're going to do here. The first construction number 21, it says to construct a square equal to the given triangle. So let's go ahead and take a look real quick. I'm going to put some steps down. I don't always do this, but I think these steps are going to help you out a lot as you're doing this. So the steps to this is going to be number one. We are going to construct a line that is 1/2 of the base plus the altitude. Notice I wrote formula of area of a triangle. So when you think of the area for a triangle, you should think 1/2 BH, or BH divided by 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to construct a line that is 1/2 the base plus the altitude. So we're going to construct that line. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's jump over here to MathsPad, and this is a great little website if you want to do some constructions online. So all right, so here we are, and what we want to do is we want to construct a line. So let's just, the one way that I like to construct a line is just to go ahead and draw the line. So we'll do the construction in red. So let's just draw a line in red down here. Now, this is going to be kind of like what we're going to work off of. We're not going to use that whole line. We're going to use little pieces of it. So now let's go ahead and let's take half of our base. So how do I take half of the base? All right, so we'll come up here and we'll put our compass on one side. Make sure that you put your point, your pencil, on more than half, because we're going to be bisecting this. We're cutting it in half. So as long as you're a little bit more than half, you're fine. And we'll lock that in, and we want to make our marks. We'll make one down here, and then we will make one up here. Come back over here to the bottom side. We need to make this one cross. There we go. It doesn't have to be pretty. Put this over here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to connect this, and this is going to be our half. So again, we're cutting that one in half. All right, so there's our halfway point right there. And we are ready to go ahead and work on our line down here. So let's go ahead and measure this. I'll change the color here so we can see it a little bit better. So we can do either one first. We can measure the altitude first if you want to. All right, so we're going to come down here. We're going to put that one on our line. Lock that in. And so this is going to be our mark for our altitude. And you're probably going to want to label that, we'll call this A, I guess, for altitude. And then we will do our 1/2 base. So we need to go ahead and measure our 1/2 base. We'll lock that in. And then we are going to put that right there. So go ahead and draw that. And we'll put a B there. And this will be for our base. All right, so really, in essence, we're not using any of this line down here. We don't need that line. We just wanted to take our 1/2 of our base, and we wanted to take our altitude or our height. So these are the 2 points that we're worried about, okay? We're going from here down to here. So this is what we're dealing with. All right, so now what we need to do is we can go back over here, and it says find the mean proportional of that line. All right, what does mean proportional mean? Well, that's from lesson 4.21, construction 19. So if you don't remember how to do that, go back to lesson 4.21, construction 19, watch that video again, and I will teach you how to do that. All right, so we'll come back over here, and we'll go ahead and, do that mean proportional right now. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and bisect this line. Okay, so this is the new line that we created, so we're going to bisect it, just like we bisected up here. So we'll come up here and we'll put our mark up here. Again, this is going to start looking a little bit ugly, as we're going through this, but just kind of hang in there. So we'll put a mark down here as well. And then we're going to come over here and put our point down on that. And we're going to connect our arcs here. All right, so there is our cutting this line in half. Okay, so this is part of what are we finding? We're finding the mean proportional. So we need to cut that line in half. So we're just going to come over here. We're going to put a mark here at our midpoint. Okay, so there's our midpoint of our line. And now what we want to do is we want to kind of go ahead and do the next step of the mean proportional. So if you're following along from construction number 19, the next thing that we would do, let me change the color here so you can kind of follow what's going on every time we kind of go to a new little part. So now that I have my midpoint, I want to come over to my midpoint and I want to make a semicircle that goes basically all the way from A to B. So there we go. We have that. All right, last kind of step here of what I want to do is with creating this mean proportional is I want to create a perpendicular line at A. All right, so I want to go ahead and create a way for me to turn this into basically a midpoint because I'm creating a perpendicular line. So I'll go ahead and mark these 2 points, and then come up here and I can go a little bit farther than that. So it makes it a little bit bigger. We'll lock that in, and I will make my X here and my X down here. Move it over to this other point that I created and go ahead and give myself a line to draw through. All right, so there we go. And now I want to get my ruler back out, my straight edge, and we're going to move that over. And this is going to be our line. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that it starts at the pink line and goes to this line. All right, and that's going to be my mean proportional. It's a little bit hard to see some things in there, just because there's a lot of things going on. But basically, this orange line right here is what's called my mean proportional. Now, what we want to do is we want to take, and we're not quite done. We do have, this is what that mean proportional is that is one side of the square. So if we go back to what we're doing here, so after we find the mean proportional, that was kind of the part that took the longest, we're going to complete the square construction. So you just come back over here, and now we're just going to complete the square construction by basically, taking and measuring this. So you're going to measure the distance there. There's just so many points here. It's a little hard for me to find it. There it is. And then I'll lock that in. So that's going to be my length. And then I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to put my point again back on there. I'll make a little arc here. And I'll come back over here to point B. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to make my arc here again. And that's my square construction right there. So I will go ahead and get rid of that. And now I can just use my ruler and I can go ahead and finish off the construction of this square. So I'll put a line here and then I'll go ahead and flip this. And then I'll finish off by putting a line here across. All right. And so there you have it. There is your square. Now this square right here, what is it equal to? Again, this is the orange square that we're dealing with. This is my mean proportional. It is equal to in other words, if I found the area of this square, it would be equal to the area of this triangle. Fairly complex construction, but work through those 3 key steps right here. We're going to construct a line that is 1/2 the base and the altitude. Then we are going to find the mean proportional of that line, and then we're going to complete the square construction. So 3 steps there that you should be able to handle if you take them all separately. Let me move that up so you can kind of see it. Let me show you what this looks like in basically with numbers and letters. So again, mean proportional. Okay, what that means is that you have the x or the missing number is across from each other. It's the same. If you have 1/2 equals 2/4, this 2 is the same. That is a mean proportional. in geometry, if you have A and B, so A equals this and B equals this, then the way that you find that is by doing that construction that we just did. That gives you your X. Again, that's the hardest part of this, is the mean proportional. Hopefully you can kind of wrap your mind around that. Hopefully you remember that from construction 19 and can handle that. All right, let's do 5.15, transforming a given polygon into a triangle real quick. I'm not going to take a lot of time here, so don't worry about that. Let's just I'm not even going to do the construction. I'm just going to show you the steps to the construction, and we'll go from there. All right, so here is our polygon, and we want to transform that into a triangle. How are we going to do that? Well, the way that we're going to accomplish that is actually what we want to do is we want to draw a triangle inside of this thing. This is where we'll start. So we'll put a triangle in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a straight edge, or you can really take whatever you want. In my case, I'm going to take this. You could take a protractor, I guess. This one's actually about the perfect size for what I need to do right here. So I'm just going to rotate that in. Now what I want to do is I want to draw a line that is parallel with that other line that I drew for my triangle, right? See that? And it's touching the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So I'll just bring this one over here. And again, it's pretty close. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw my line out here. Okay? Let me draw your attention back to page 239 real quick. Page 239. And we're going to look at corollary 70-3. Okay? And it says two triangles having equal bases and equal altitudes are equal. Again, if we have equal bases and equal altitudes. So what we want to do is we want to kind of make our base equal right here. So we're going to pull the base on these two triangles that we're creating, and we're going to put them right there. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to kind of finish these triangles. Right now you're thinking, I don't see any triangles. I know, just give it a second. So I'm going to make this triangle in this blue color right here. So what we're going to do from this point, again, remember this is an equal, we're making equal triangles. So we're going from here to this base, because it has equal bases and equal altitudes. So now this triangle that we created right here is going to have, so let me kind of color this one in. This big blue triangle that we just created right here is going to have the same area. It's going to be equal to this original yellow shape that we had here, this pentagon. Okay, and the reason for that, and you know, I can kind of show you basically these pieces right here, if you will, these extra little pieces right here are going to equal these little extra pieces that are up here. All right. So the reason why we know that is because of corollary 70.3. And then we can just construct it. And you would, I mean, I didn't use construction, right? I didn't use a compass to draw those lines. I just used my drawing program to draw straight lines. You would actually have to construct those straight lines in order to get it to be an actual construction. You would need to use your compass to make those, and your straight edge. I just kind of cheated just a little bit just to save a little bit of time in that video. So, a couple fairly complicated constructions. They're really based on a whole bunch of other things, but if you take them piece by piece, then they're not too bad once you kind of understand what they're looking for there. So that's all I've got for you in this lesson. Hopefully you learned something. Try those. Go ahead and practice those there in your book. Try to construct those. All right, that's all I've got for you. Hope you have a good one. If you missed anything, slide it back, take another look at it. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.